How to learn a new skill in 20 hours. Learning new skills is one of the interesting and essential challenges in every individual's life. These skills can include technical, artistic, language, or even social and managerial abilities. However, many people believe that mastering a new skill requires a long period of time and a lot of energy. This belief usually arises from a lack of awareness of effective learning methods and a focus on achieving complete mastery in the long term. The reality, however, is that according to scientific research and learning psychology, new skills can be learned in a short period of time, even in just 20 hours, with the right approaches and planning. In fact, according to studies conducted by Dr. Cal Newport and other researchers, learning skills quickly does not require years of continuous effort. One key point in this regard is that the quality of practice, not its duration, is the main factor in mastering skills. Newport points out in his book, So Good They Can't Ignore You, that successful individuals in learning a particular skill spend most of their time engaging in precise and purposeful practice, rather than merely engaging in aimless, long-duration practice. From the perspective of learning psychology, the 10,000-hour rule, which is widely discussed by owners and experts in the field of skill acquisition, is more of a myth and can be incorrect for certain skills. Recent studies have shown that it is possible to achieve significant mastery in a skill in a shorter time using specific principles and effective methods. For example, research has shown that using active learning techniques such as spaced repetition, immediate feedback, and participation in real-world challenging environments can accelerate the learning process. On the other hand, another factor that can be effective in fast learning is motivation and proper goal setting. Brian Tracy, a well-known author and speaker in the field of personal development, emphasizes that setting clear goals and breaking them down into small, achievable steps is one of the key factors in rapid learning. When goal setting is done correctly, the individual celebrates small successes at each stage of learning, and this strengthens motivation and accelerates the learning process. In this video, based on scientific findings and theories from prominent experts in the field of learning, we will explore methods and strategies that make rapid and effective learning possible. These methods are not only based on scientific research and the experiences of the most distinguished specialists in various learning domains, but also help you learn skills in a short period, even in just 20 hours, that you can apply in both your personal and professional life. Hello, and welcome to my channel. In this video, we're going to learn how to master any skill in just 20 hours. If you find this topic interesting, please subscribe to the channel and like the video so we can dive into the rest of it together. 1. Precise and clear goal setting. One of the most important and effective principles for fast learning is having clear and measurable goals. According to scientific research and the experiences of many researchers, precise goal setting helps the human brain direct its mental and physical resources more effectively and efficiently. As Dr. Cal Newport mentions in his book, So Good They Can't Ignore You, having clear and measurable goals motivates the individual to focus all their energy and attention on achieving that goal. Psychologically, having clear and specific goals reduces stress and increases confidence, as the individual knows where they stand and what steps they need to take to succeed. Goal setting is only effective when the individual plans their goals specifically and in detail. This means that the goal should not only be clear and specific, but also measurable enough for the individual to assess their progress. For example, instead of saying, "I want to learn a new language," you can set a much more specific and smaller goal, such as, "I want to learn 50 new words this week," or, "By the end of the month, I want to have a 5-minute fluent conversation in the new language." Most practical methods for effective goal setting. Break down goals into smaller, achievable targets. Instead of setting broad and long-term goals, break them down into smaller, more tangible steps. For example, if your goal is to learn a new skill, divide it into different stages so that each part is individually achievable and measurable. This approach not only makes learning more attainable, but also helps maintain motivation throughout the learning process. Clear progress criteria. To assess your success, set clear and measurable progress criteria. For example, if you are learning a new language, you can set short-term goals such as learn 10 new words each day, or have a 5-minute conversation without needing translation. Setting such criteria helps you not only track your progress, but also enjoy the small victories along the way. Flexibility in goal setting. Although goals should be clear and specific, they should also be flexible enough to allow for adjustments if challenges arise or circumstances change. Flexibility in goal setting can help prevent feelings of frustration and failure. Stay focused on the final outcome. One of the challenges many individuals face during the learning process is getting distracted from the main path. To avoid this, it is important to consistently remind yourself of your ultimate goal and keep your focus on the final result. By using these methods and techniques, you can make your learning process more purposeful and effective, making the best use of your time and energy. 2. Break the skill into smaller parts. One of the most effective strategies for learning skills quickly and efficiently is breaking them down into smaller parts. This technique, known as chunking, is based on the idea that the human brain processes complex information better when it is divided into smaller units. According to scientific research and learning psychology experiences, the brain has a better ability to learn and retain information when it is broken down into smaller, manageable chunks. This approach not only makes learning faster, but also makes understanding and mastering complex concepts easier. Dr. Andrew Neil from Harvard University states in his book, The Science of Learning, that learning a complex skill is faster and more effective only when it is broken down into smaller components. This process allows the brain to easily process information step by step, which ultimately leads to quicker and more effective mastery of the skill. In fact, when skills are broken into smaller parts, the individual is able to focus on one specific aspect at a time and make steady progress without feeling overwhelmed or stressed. Additionally, this technique enables individuals to overcome smaller challenges with ease and boost their confidence. Practical methods for breaking skills into smaller parts. Break the skill into simple and manageable steps. Instead of trying to learn all aspects of a skill at once, break it down into simpler parts that you can gradually master. For example, if you want to learn guitar, you can first focus on learning basic chords. Once you've mastered these chords, you can gradually move on to learning more complex techniques and incorporating them into different songs. Focus on core and foundational skills. In learning any skill, some aspects are always more important than others. For example, when learning a new language, foundational skills such as vocabulary and basic grammar are essential. Focusing on these core aspects initially provides a strong foundation for more advanced learning later. Identify these foundational areas and focus on them to ensure you can effectively learn more complex elements in the future. Gradually increase complexity. Once you have mastered the simpler aspects, gradually move on to more complex stages. Instead of overwhelming yourself with everything at once, increase the difficulty of your learning step by step. For instance, after learning basic chords on the guitar, start combining them into simple songs, and then gradually try more complex songs and advanced techniques. Use a specific timeline for each section. Set a specific timeline for each part of your learning process. For example, if your goal is learning a language, you might dedicate 1 or 2 hours a week to studying new vocabulary and practicing it, and then focus on grammar the following week. This helps you gain mastery over each aspect of the skill while progressing. By using these methods, not only will the learning process be much more effective and easier, but you will also be able to progress rapidly and enjoy the sense of achievement. This strategy allows you to reduce the pressure and stress associated with learning complex skills and move toward your goal with greater confidence. 3. Focused and deliberate practice. Focused and deliberate practice is one of the key principles for fast and effective skill acquisition. This type of practice, emphasized in many scientific studies and the experiences of leading experts in various fields, is strongly linked to progress and mastery. Anders Ericsson, a psychologist and prominent researcher from the University of Florida, specifically highlights the importance of deliberate and focused practice in his book, Peak: Secrets from the New Science of Expertise. He states that simply performing routine exercises without purpose cannot lead to real progress and mastery of a skill. Instead, deliberate practice involves focusing intensely on specific areas and improving weaknesses. Deliberate practice means setting clear goals for each training session and concentrating only on aspects that contribute to mastering the skill. This practice requires both mental and physical focus and cannot be done automatically or thoughtlessly. Furthermore, the most important aspect of deliberate practice is that the exercises should be challenging yet achievable. These exercises force you to step out of your comfort zone and address weaknesses that may exist in your learning process. Dr. Ericsson's research shows that successful individuals in any field, whether it's music, sports, or any other skill, continuously practice their weaknesses with precision, making this a constant and goal-oriented process in their lives. Practical methods for engaging in focused and deliberate practice. Identify specific areas for improvement. Instead of general practice, target specific weaknesses or skills that need attention. For example, if learning to play an instrument, focus on difficult passages, challenging techniques, or elements that hinder overall performance. Set clear goals for each session. Ensure each practice session has a clear objective, such as improving speed, accuracy, or a specific technique. These focused goals will help direct your effort and measure progress more effectively. Push your limits. Gradually, deliberate practice involves pushing beyond what is comfortable. While the tasks should remain achievable, they should also challenge your abilities and encourage improvement. Seek immediate feedback. Whether from a mentor, coach, or self-assessment, it's important to get feedback during each session. This allows you to understand where to improve and adjust your approach accordingly. By integrating deliberate practice into your learning routine, you'll significantly accelerate your progress and increase your mastery of the skill. Short and goal-oriented practice. Rather than practicing aimlessly for long hours, focus on short, goal-oriented practice sessions. Research shows that short but highly focused practice is more effective than longer sessions. For example, instead of spending an hour in one go learning a new skill, dedicate 30 minutes to focused, goal-driven practice. These sessions should include new challenges and rapid feedback on your progress. Focus on one skill per practice session. Instead of trying to work on multiple skills in a single session, concentrate on mastering one skill at a time. For instance, if you're learning photography, focus first on mastering lighting techniques or camera settings, then gradually move on to more advanced skills like composition or image editing. This approach helps you achieve greater mastery in that specific area and smoothly expand it to other aspects. Use feedback and continuous refinement. Deliberate practice is most effective when it's paired with feedback. After each practice session, assess your own performance or get feedback from others. For example, if you're learning photography, you can ask a professional photographer or a teacher for feedback to correct your mistakes. Alternatively, you can share your work with peers or on online platforms to receive constructive critiques. Practice in real and simulated conditions. Deliberate practice should include conditions that give you a real learning experience. For example, if you're learning to play the piano, practicing with just instructional books isn't enough. You need to simulate real-life scenarios, like performing a complete piece or playing in front of others, to test your skills in actual conditions. Track and assess progress. To know if you're on the right track, it's essential to track your progress. This can include logging your practice results, assessing your abilities in detail, and resetting your goals as needed. Ongoing evaluation allows you to identify weaknesses and adjust your practice to improve them. Focused and deliberate practice is a time-consuming process, but it is one of the most effective methods for learning any skill quickly and efficiently. By focusing on weaknesses, obtaining feedback, and continuously refining, you can rapidly achieve mastery in new skills. 4. Using diverse resources. Scientific studies have shown that utilizing various resources in the learning process can significantly accelerate it. Dr. Barbara Oakley, an engineering professor at the University of Michigan and author of the book Ultra Learning, emphasizes that learning from diverse sources allows individuals to understand a skill from different angles and better absorb complex concepts. She explains that using a variety of resources helps the brain establish more connections between pieces of information, resulting in a faster and more effective learning process. This approach is especially effective in learning complex or multifaceted skills, such as programming, graphic design, or even professional skills in management and leadership. Using different resources helps you find diverse perspectives and various methods for problem solving and mastering skills. For example, when learning a new language, in addition to studying textbooks, you may want to take advantage of movies, apps, or conversation sessions with native speakers to experience the language concepts from different angles. Practical methods for using diverse resources. Using multiple resources. To learn any skill, use a variety of resources to gain diverse perspectives on that skill. Instead of relying on just one specific source, incorporate a mix of books, videos, podcasts, academic articles, and other tools. For example, if you want to learn graphic design, in addition to studying textbooks, you can follow online courses, YouTube videos, and specialized tutorials on platforms like Udemy or Coursera. Practical experience. One of the best ways to learn effectively is through real-world experiences. Instead of spending excessive time on theory and pure study, try to apply your skills in real-life situations. For example, if you're learning coding, rather than just studying reference books, write actual code, work on small projects, and even, if possible, collaborate in a software development team to test your skills in the real world. Learning from mistakes. Mistakes are a natural and essential part of learning any skill. Therefore, you can benefit from using different resources to identify and correct your mistakes. For example, when learning photography, reading various books and watching educational videos can introduce you to different techniques and experiences. Also, use feedback from experts or online communities to improve your work. Studying and reviewing academic resources. Using academic resources like research papers or university studies can deepen your knowledge in a specific field. These sources provide you with scientific and up-to-date perspectives that might not be available in more general sources, especially for learning skills like digital marketing, data analysis, or project management. Scientific articles and specialized books can be very useful tools. Integrating online and offline learning. In today's world, combining online and offline learning allows you to make the best use of both types of resources. You can use online courses to learn theory and basic information and then test it in real-world environments. For example, in learning music, you can use online resources to learn notes and music theory, and in parallel, attend in-person classes or practice sessions to improve your skills. Using diverse resources can make the learning process more engaging and effective, as these resources take you out of a one-sided approach and allow you to experience and view skills from different angles. 5. Continuous evaluation and improvement. Continuous evaluation and improvement is one of the most effective tools for fast and optimized learning. According to research by Dr. James Ford, a professor at the University of California, individuals who continuously evaluate and improve their progress can accelerate and enhance their learning process. Dr. Ford believes that accurately assessing progress, identifying weaknesses, and refining learning strategies help individuals recognize mistakes more quickly and learn from them. This process is especially effective in learning complex and new skills, as it enables individuals to quickly reach their desired level and avoid potential deviations from their path. In fact, the evaluation process helps individuals act more consciously and rely on the strategies that are most effective rather than wasting time and effort on ineffective approaches. The method of continuous improvement means that an individual is always reviewing and optimizing their strategies to achieve the best possible results in the shortest amount of time. Practical methods for continuous evaluation and improvement. Using feedback. One of the best ways to evaluate progress is by receiving feedback. This feedback can come from professors, coaches, classmates, or colleagues who have experience in the specific skill you're learning. Constructive and accurate feedback can help you identify mistakes more quickly and find better solutions to improve your performance. For example, in learning to play an instrument, you can ask your teacher to periodically assess your progress and provide tips for improving techniques and performance. Regularly reviewing progress. Periodically, assess your progress and evaluate whether you are getting closer to your set goals. These reviews can help you measure your success and progress and, if needed, adjust your methods and strategies. For instance, if you're learning website design and notice challenges in mastering certain techniques, you should evaluate the issue and focus more on that area to improve your results. Using self-assessment techniques. To accurately evaluate progress, you can use self-assessment techniques. This means looking at your learning process independently and carefully, identifying strengths and weaknesses. You can take notes or even use a journal to track daily progress and challenges. These notes can help you better observe your changes over time. Analyzing mistakes. Instead of fearing mistakes, try to see them as opportunities for learning and growth. Every time you make a mistake, analyze it and figure out the cause. Then learn from it and find new ways to prevent it from happening again. For example, in learning digital illustration, if a design doesn't go as planned, the issue could be the wrong tool choice or using incorrect techniques. By reviewing these mistakes, you can leverage them to improve your skills. Setting and reviewing success criteria. For each stage of learning, you should establish specific criteria to measure success. These criteria can include mastery over specific skills or the amount of time spent on learning each section. By reviewing these criteria, you can get an accurate assessment of your progress and make any necessary adjustments. For example, if you want to improve in professional writing, you could track criteria like the number of words written per week or the quality of writing and use these metrics to improve both speed and quality. These evaluation and continuous improvement processes help you stay on the right path, learn from your mistakes, and continuously enhance your skills. 6. Learning from mistakes. Learning from mistakes is one of the key strategies for fast and effective learning. Dr. Stephen Goldstein, a professor at Harvard University, believes that mistakes are not only a natural part of the learning process, but also the best teachers we have. He emphasizes that mistakes should be viewed as opportunities for growth because each mistake can provide a deeper understanding of the subject or skill being learned. Dr. William Adams has also shown in his research that individuals who learn from their mistakes can increase their learning speed and achieve mastery in the shortest time possible. When an individual learns from their mistakes, they not only become aware of their weaknesses, but also discover more optimal and efficient ways to solve problems. In fact, mistakes can be a direct path to deeper learning, as they give the individual an opportunity to gain practical experience and a better understanding of the subject. This process transforms mistakes from a source of failure into a tool for progress and personal improvement. Practical methods for learning from mistakes. Respecting your mistakes. Instead of viewing mistakes as failures, See them as opportunities for further learning. When you encounter a mistake during the learning process, remind yourself that it is a part of the learning journey. For example, if you make a mistake while playing an instrument, view it as a chance to learn more. This approach helps you develop a positive mindset towards mistakes and make use of them for growth. Carefully analyzing mistakes. After each mistake, take the time to carefully analyze what caused it. What parts of your learning process were disrupted? Which areas need more attention? For example, if you're coding a project and face issues, assess whether the problem lies in the way the code is written or the choice of the algorithm. Once you identify the issue, you can find better solutions to fix it and avoid making the same mistake next time. Focusing on weaknesses. Mistakes often reveal your weaknesses. These weaknesses can be opportunities for improvement. For example, if you're struggling with digital illustration, it may indicate that you need to focus more on color selection techniques or color theory. Identify these weaknesses and work on improving them consistently. Learning from others' mistakes. Sometimes the mistakes of others can also be valuable teachers. By studying the experiences and mistakes of others in skill learning, you can learn from their errors and avoid repeating the same mistakes. For instance, if you're learning to start a business, studying the experiences of successful entrepreneurs can help you avoid their mistakes and progress faster. Consolidating learning. Through feedback. One way to learn quickly from mistakes is by using feedback from others. For example, ask a teacher or mentor to review your mistakes and provide solutions to correct them. This feedback can offer you new perspectives that will help you compensate for your errors and improve your performance. Ultimately, remember that learning from mistakes is a skill that improves with practice and experience. By accepting mistakes and using them as opportunities to learn, you can accelerate your learning process and achieve greater mastery. 7. Practice in real-world conditions. Practicing in real-world conditions and facing practical challenges is an effective strategy for fast and continuous learning. Peter Thiel and other researchers have found that practicing under real-world conditions, especially when under pressure, can help improve learning and mastery of a skill. This type of practice helps individuals strengthen their skills effectively when facing real-world situations and unforeseen challenges. In fact, simulating real conditions and putting yourself in situations where you must apply a new skill in practice makes your learning process more practical and applicable. Real-world practice leads you to engage with problems and complexities that you can't easily experience in a laboratory or educational environment. Practical methods for practicing in real-world conditions. Simulating real conditions. If you want to improve your skills in presentations or public speaking, instead of just practicing in front of a mirror, do it in front of friends or colleagues. This will put you under real pressure and help you learn how to respond to stressful situations. For example, if you're learning software development, try working on a real, complex project to expose yourself to the challenges of the real world. This type of practice takes you out of comfortable, simulated environments and prepares you to apply your skills in real-world conditions. Facing real problems. Try to work on real projects and problems that are related to your new skill. For example, if you're learning graphic design, instead of practicing on simple designs, try working on projects that are more complex and require more decision-making and creativity. This way, you'll face problems and challenges that are expected in the real world, and you can learn valuable lessons from them. 8. Energy management and proper rest. Fast learning is not just about time and effort, it also requires proper energy management and rest. According to research by Dr. Thomas Horner from the University of Cambridge, short and regular breaks can help strengthen memory and process information. In fact, the human brain needs to take breaks at various intervals to effectively process and store new information. Without adequate rest, the risk of mental burnout and decreased learning ability increases. Therefore, Finding ways to manage energy, such as taking short breaks and getting enough sleep, plays a significant role in accelerating the learning process. Practical methods for energy management and rest. Short and effective breaks. One effective method for energy management is the Pomodoro technique. This technique suggests taking a 5-minute break after every 25-30 minutes of practice. These breaks help your brain process information and recharge energy for the next learning sessions. Adequate night sleep. At night, your brain has the opportunity to process information and strengthen long-term memory. Therefore, getting enough sleep, especially the nights before learning sessions, can help you better absorb new information and gain a deeper understanding of skills. Deep and regular sleep is an essential element of fast learning success because it provides you with the energy needed to apply new skills and face learning challenges. Conclusion: contrary to the common belief that learning new skills requires long periods of time and endless effort, it can be accelerated and improved by applying scientific strategies and targeted approaches. By employing methods such as breaking skills into smaller parts, focused and deliberate practice, continuous assessment, learning from mistakes, and utilizing various resources, you can gain significant mastery over new skills in a short period. These strategies not only help speed up the learning process, but also make it a meaningful and effective experience. By focusing on continuous improvement, you can turn learning into a successful daily habit and achieve the desired results in any area you wish to master. Remember, learning is never limited by time, but depends on the quality of your methods. Therefore, by applying these techniques and having determination and patience, success in learning new skills is within your reach. Thank you for watching this far. If you enjoyed this content, please support me by liking the video and leaving a comment.